Hello, everybody. Welcome. For those it's like investigator, hello, everybody, welcome. For those it's like investigator. So guys, let's get started. Let's do protection. I'd like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I'd like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it create the good and only the good. And so it's okay. So there's a lot to discuss today. And so let's get started. All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the amount of disinformation that's out there, guys. It really is shocking. And I don't mean to like shame anybody or to, it's not that I'm mad or anything, but I feel like that's my duty to bring that up because it's crazy. Because this information could even come from like non-MAGA sources. And sometimes it's hard to even understand why are people doing this. So a lot of you, not a lot of you, some of you sent me this. And I've said before that I don't like it. I prefer that if you have something for me that you want me to look at, send me a link and something that comes from a credible place. Because videos, first of all, it takes me a long time to watch them. To be honest with you, if I don't recognize the channel, I'm not going to watch it. And then it doesn't have any evidence, okay? Because when someone sends me something like this, I would click on it because there's Jack Smith involved, right? So I click on it and there's no evidence. It's a lie, basically. And it's very frustrating because really, you would think, right? Especially the news that would make us happy like that it would be true, but it's not true. And this goes to show that you have to, as a viewer, when you read something like this, that sounds great, you have to go to the internet and ask and do the research yourself before you forward to anybody, because this one is not true. And of course, it would be true if Trump got access to documents. And then, first of all, I had never seen this channel before. And then if you put it online, there is nothing like this. And then you have to get to the bottom of the things that the person is claiming, right? And it's of course, if it's a quote unquote psychic channel, it's a different story. I also I said that I don't look at what other people have said, because a lot of times I feel like people send me that stuff because they are themselves a little doubtful of what they saw in the channel. But it's not my job to do the fact checking for them. You should, if you have doubts about something you've seen in a channel, ask them, not me, because I have, as you saw, like I have my own thing, right, that I do, and it does not involve fixing other people's stuff. It doesn't. So, but I'm saying this, guys, not to complain, but to just, it's crazy. Like something like this, I would be like, oh, it sounds so great, but let me show you what the truth really is. So, as hard it is, wait, I thought I separated this. No, I didn't, did I? Yeah, I had separated the fact that basically, oh, yeah, I have it here. So I had selected, I went to the Wikipedia. It must be here still. No, it's not. But anyway, so if you go to the Wikipedia about Jack Smith, the case was closed. Okay. The case was closed, and just one second. And no, Jack Smith is not even, he's not a special counsel anymore. And he is not actively asking for documents in the docket because the case, unfortunately, right for now, it's closed. He dropped the charges right once Trump became president. So it's the kind of thing that you really have to do this work yourselves, okay? Because you have to know what's going on, right? And this is a time again of disinformation. I don't know why they put it out, whoever created this disinformation. Sometimes I feel like it's because but there was another thing that is actually true that came out during hearings today in Congress about Jack Smith. Okay, so I feel like it's like the goal of disinformation is to make people doubt what is true, what is not true, right? And the way that they create it is that they find the truth and then they like mask it somehow. Does it make sense? They know something that is true and they like twist it. So in this case, yes, of course, Jack Smith was the person in charge of this case, but it's now closed and you can find all of this. But don't, I know a lot of people, my mother is like this, sharing stuff without double, you can't do that anymore. We are in the midst of information warfare. Okay. So now, having said that, let's go to what actually is true. All right. Okay. And this is the part, guys, I was looking for. It was one of the pages that I just couldn't see it then. But this is the truth. Jack Smith dropped all charges. Jack Smith resigned in January. So this is from the Wikipedia here on July 15, 2024. Judge, I remember her, Eileen Cannon dismissed the classified documents prosecution against Donald Trump. Let's just look here at the bottom, the last paragraph. Smith submitted his final reports to the Justice Department on January 7th, 2025, and resigned 3 days later. The part of the report about the election obstruction was made public on January 14th. The part about the mishandling of government records was not released at the same time because the Justice Department was still appealing the dismissal of charges against Trump's co-defendants in that case. The DOJ eventually dropped the cases against Trump's co-defendants on January 29th, 2025. Okay? So this is the truth. There's no he got this or he got that. Right? It's this, whatever happened in the past. But what happened today is here. Okay. So then I was here. Republican senators denounced Jack Smith over January 6th scrutiny of phone records because sometimes this information happens um, as a means to mask what's called SEO, which is like whatever when something big breaks on the internet, the words that are like connected to that will the right when people search for something, it makes it pop up. So it will confuse the SEO and make people think that nothing new has come up. Does it make sense? Could be that too. But let's look at the truth here about what happened. I let's look at the non-paywall version of the New York Times article. So, Republican senators denounced Jack Smith over January 6th scrutiny of phone records. At a hearing with Attorney General Pam Bondi, Republican senators seized on the collection of their phone records by the FBI as proof of politicization by the Biden administration. At a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on Tuesday, Republican lawmakers repeatedly denounced Jack Smith and the Biden administration for taking the phone records of more than half a dozen GOP senators to determine who they spoke to just before and after the January 6, 2021 riot at the Capitol. The attacks formed a core part of Republicans' response as Democrats on the panel grilled Attorney General Pam Bondi over President Trump's increasing pressure on the Justice Department to prosecute his political enemies. Republicans used the phone records to argue instead that the Biden administration had politicized the departments, though much remains unknown about the records' role in the investigation, and there has been no evidence that the Biden White House influenced the inquiry. Republicans pressed Ms. Bondi to investigate and punish anyone associated with the investigative steps, such as FBI agents who examined the phone data of 9 Republican lawmakers to determine who called them, and when and where the calls were made. Okay, let's see. Okay, so actually on Twitter, there is a lot more information about who, like several senators actually. But again, this is dead for now. They want some sort of revenge on Democrats for um, looking at the law. Okay, so let me ask here, what is going to happen with this with the Republican revenge? Are they going to be able to get some sort of revenge, quote unquote, over what's happening here? Yeah, I see that Jack Smith is not in the country right now, and that he has security. I think he could be in The Hague. I don't know exactly where he is, but as security detail. And I see he has shared information with the prosecutors over there and in The Hague and also Dutch intelligence. So they know, right? So that information is not just with us here in the US because it could be destroyed, right? So are the Republicans going? Oh, say no because they don't want to open that Pandora's box because it's the remember the guy, what's his name? Kash Patel. Is he going to be able to get some revenge on Jack Smith? Because that's what happens in Raleigh. Right. I see him being escorted out, handcuffed finally. Because he himself has had all these contacts with the Russians. Remember, you may not remember this, that Patel, during the first Trump administration, when the whole story that the Russia hoax, quote unquote, came out, he and other people went to Christopher Steele, remember him? To his house to try to demand something. And of course, nothing happened. He didn't open the door or something like that. But so they're involved in these like campaigns. And yeah, and I see also interesting Mark Rutte. And wow. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, guys. So what's gonna happen next here? I see that they talk about this as a means to distract, but I don't see them actually doing anything significant about it because I just don't feel like this administration is going to last. And they don't actually want to talk about it in public because more stuff is going to come out. Like it did just now. I don't think we knew that Jack Smith, I mean, knew openly that Jack Smith was looking into particular senators' information, right? So, so that's the story. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like now the more they talk, the more obvious it becomes. So, and I see that they're actually a little dizzy, as if they've had a knockout related to the whole Epstein story because more and more is coming out. And it's funny, I see Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine, no, no, Donald Trump. He is really scared of her, but there's no way, and even Laura Loomer of all people, there's no way that he's gonna give her a pardon. I don't see it happening. And so that stuff's gonna come out. And that's all that they need some sort of distraction, but I don't think this is good enough of a distraction. Okay? All right, so let's stop here. And another thing that I'm going to say here is that another related to disinformation, another thing that I had to even post about it is that stop sending me the thing about the guy, Sean Atwood. That's a Russian disinformation channel. Like, it's again surprises me that people don't pick up on it. And it's like the whole thing is like Clinton this, Clinton that. I'm not saying that Clinton is not involved in the whole Epstein thing, but it always omits the involvement of Trump. And then it's like a lot of if you're not familiar with how their thing goes, it's like they're attacking Macron and then Trudeau, like all the people that have said bad things about Russia, that's the only ones they attack. It's not credible. Okay. So don't send me that stuff. Just do the research yourself. And this is why, and even the woman at Whitney something Webb or something like that, I think people should really take everything with a grain of salt. There's so much disinformation. I'm not saying that, yes, there's horrible politicians in both sides and such, but so much of it is, I'm interested in facts. I'm interested in financial information, all kinds of things that are factual. When it gets to be like, oh, what about their cult or this and that? It's just, that's not interesting to me at all. Okay. We are, we want to know what's going on here that is factual because conspiracy theories are sort of like fairy tales in a way. People get distracted by the real thing. And the one telltale sign to me is that they attack the Pope. And this current Pope is very liberal. So the fact that people don't get this, like when you start, if you want to find out if a channel is legitimate, first of all, whenever they speak of the Russia situation, they have to be openly pro-Ukraine. That's one thing. This they say that they side with Ukraine, number one. Number two, if they are always attacking Russia's enemies and people who have said bad things about Russia, like the Pope, who has openly sided with Ukraine. So this is one of the ways that I'm not here to listen to everything and every single, but I have to tell you this because it's alarming how easily people fall for stuff. You have to exercise your critical thinking. Okay, it's very important at this time. Okay, so that's all with the lecturing here about this. All right, and this is something that I showed even on my, like, oh, here I was looking it up right on my thing, my last video. I had to show this because people constantly are sending me, I'm not interested. Okay. So that's that. Let's move on to other things. I just had to give you this warning for now. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this that came out, was it today? So Minnesota hand count uncovers 6 to 8% shift in election results. District 8 counted their ballots by hand, and the hand down ballot anomalies disappeared. Again, math doesn't lie, people do. Okay, as part of the routine election operations, Minnesota conduct hand counts in a small number of districts. These are not audits. They are actual counts used to determine the official results in these locations. One such district, District 8, became the focus of a detailed analysis by the Election Truth Alliance, which compared its hand-counted results with machine-counted districts across the states. The findings are clear. The statistical election integrity red flags that appeared in machine-counted districts were absent in District 8's hand count. So here it is. No red flags in hand count in District 8. There was no correlation between turnout and candidate vote share, exactly what experts expect in clean election data. Yet machine-counted districts displayed a strong pattern. As turnout rose, Republican vote share increased disproportionately while Democratic vote share dropped. This is recognized internationally as an election integrity red flag. Vote shares skewed by 6 to 8%. Across districts or similar size, Democratic candidates received 6 to 8% fewer votes on average in machine-counted districts, while Republicans received 6 to 8 more, a consistent one-sided skew. Historical consistency. Hand counts align, machines diverge. Looking at historical voting patterns underscores the points. In machine-counted districts of similar size, Harris received 1.47% fewer votes in 2024 than Biden did in 2020, dropping from 52.41% to 50.94%. By contrast, in hand-counted District 8, Democratic presidential votes were remarkably consistent with past elections, with just a 0.04% difference. This level of stability is what analysts expect to see if elections are not subject to systemic manipulation. So, so this is what they've been talking about, right? So, all right. So again, more and more information coming out about the elections. So let's see what's going to happen next, right? What's happening next? See, it's funny. I see Elon Musk. Then I see, I had somebody puts a hood over Elon Musk's head, and then it's like he's forced to confess somehow. It's saying that he'll be put in a position where he's going to have to confess. And it will be unmasked. It's saying, so guys, this is one of those things, right? I've said from the very beginning. I mean, it's obvious. At least you have watched my channel once. You know how I feel about this. The election was stolen. It's pretty obvious, right? And this is the thing that needs to come out. How is this going to come out? I see that again. I see that the last resort here really is the military. And it's funny saying France. You know how France is in trouble actually, right? They're having issues with their it's about parliamentary system. The person who is sides with Macron is I don't quite understand the details, but there is instability there. I do think that is also partially to blame for all of the stuff they do to destabilize the countries. They're very good with this information. And Macron has been great at it. He's been great at pointing out what they're doing. But I see that they're gonna start talking about what's really going on. And it will come out as saying, keep the faith is what I'm getting. Okay. Keep the faith because things are going to collapse sooner or later. Okay, so all right. So let's go. One more question about the Minnesota situation. Of course, there's Pennsylvania, there's many areas where there's clearly something very shitty happened. But what's going to happen with this is that's the frustrating part that it stuff comes out and then there's nothing, silence. I see that it's interesting though, show me the judge. Remember a couple of days ago, the judge's house blew up and the local police said, oh, it's an accident. This reminds me of when Epstein died in bar said, "Oh, it was a suicide." Like, how do you know? You can't. There's no way of knowing at this point unless there's an investigation that has been completed. So I don't think we should take seriously this. And I see also that they can't say it publicly right now what they're doing because it's too dangerous. But there is a real investigation going on about South Carolina, the judge. But anyway, coming back because I was asking about what's going on with the election, it's insane. Their priority is to silence people and who may know about this and to surveil them even. And it's funny because I'm picking up one of the Doge characters. He has an Asian name, and I've always seen him. In the past, I saw him eventually talking, being honest about what he knows about what happened. And it's Shaolin, I think his name is, and he's the guy who I have his code for he created an app just to tell you that can read ballots and recreate ballots. Like they could easily use this technology to do something with AI, right? So it's saying they know, Rosie, people know, keep the faith. Eventually this is going to come out. I hope it's eventually soon, yes. And the whole thing is going to collapse. Okay. And it's interesting. I see Kamala saying all those people that I brought up in the book did not want me to be public about it. And yes, it's just saying we could say interesting. We could have done something then, but there were too many people that were too afraid. And I feel like in a way, guys, it's saying that because she went through all of this, she's the one who was really qualified to fight back when the time comes. So again, I know there's going to be people who will be like, "Oh, but the Kamala, I don't think she wants it anymore." But first, we have to really let the truth come out. Eventually, it's going to come out about what happened in the election, and then that will be another conversation afterwards. Okay, so that's that. Now let me go to another subject. Okay. So now let's go to Russell Vought and some news. It's quite upsetting, but I don't want you to get scared. Let's look into this. So here is scoop. White House memo says furloughed federal workers aren't entitled to back pay. And we know that this comes from him. And they stated it. They haven't necessarily done something about it. And here is, hold on. Why did it jump? Weird. Okay. Just make it small. Okay, and this is a Jasmine Crockett. Let me be clear. It's illegal to deny federal workers back pay after a shutdown. There's a 2019 law that guarantees it, but Trump is once again trying to break the law. You don't get to punish people for doing their jobs just because you're failing at yours. Very well said. And this is the man who is behind this, Russell Vought. So what is, first of all, what is going to happen? I see that this guy Russell Vought is nervous, and there's something called the trial balloon is when you put out news in the press or see how the public reacts. And he realizes he's not going to be able to get away with this because they want to see people suffer. He said it before. He's a sociopath. He's a creep. Um, and I see that Trump himself is realizing how unpopular he really is and how hard it actually has been to accomplish the things he has wanted to do. And I'm reminded of yesterday's conversation about is it Yarvin, that guy Curtis Yarvin, who said he's going to have to move out because they're realizing it hasn't been as successful as they have wanted it to be. This is true. So, so I see that they have to backtrack. Okay, so what is going to happen here? Let's see. What is going to happen right here now that they have done this? Let me go to here. Okay. So what is going to be the outcome of this? So what will be the outcome? No, I think that I see that Russell Vought brings out the scissors, but he's held back. He's held back. And I see the Republicans as I'm not saying that they're the ones who are gonna save us, no, but they're like, no, you can't do that. It's gonna be over for us if we do it now. So now I wanted to tell you also to return to send whenever you see these news that and we know who it is, it's this guy, just pray and return to sender. Say, protect us from the evil of these people and return any no harm that they are creating back to themselves. Because and I know some people are like, oh, but I believe that we should always wish only the very best. It's like these people are trying to get you killed, all right? That's the point of mine. So you can at least return their energy to them. Okay, you bring the light, you bring everything up to the light. You want the light to come up to those people. I mean, you can send a light to them, but I think it's if you feel this feeling of anger, I think you want to. It's not yours; it belongs to them. It's something that they created. You return to them, right? So, so that's what I would say. I don't think we should see them as powerful because they're about to collapse. That's the bottom line. Okay. So, so this is that. Okay, and I'm seeing really that they're just close to collapse. That even though, and I was talking to somebody on the phone about this today, even though we see in the news and all that. This is happening, right? They're still there. The energy feels as if we're not in some weird way. Does it make sense? Even though I'm picking up all this other energy, I can just feel like the alignment is not correct. We're going to eventually realign in the correct way. But for now, this is what we're picking up. Does it make sense? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be confusing, but I know this isn't real, like in the sense energetically and such, we're meant to be in another place. We're going to get there. But the thing to do is to keep the faith and to let these people go and send the light to the situation so the darkness could be removed faster. And also, if you, whenever you feel these negative feelings, return it to them. It's not yours; it's theirs. They have to collect the karma themselves. Okay, for all the negativity they're bringing out to the world. So, all right, okay. So, and I am getting the last message saying here: tell people that they're powerful and that they can make things happen energetically and otherwise, and that you have to see them as weak and collapsing your minds as well. Do not say, "Oh my God, no, they're not getting away with everything." This time is the time to also become aware of your own power and your own spiritual power and your own ability to make the truth be revealed because the truth and the light are one, right? the truth and the light are one. So, okay. All right. So that was a message for today. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Okay. Bye bye. Bye.